Hi, this is the Redeeming Real Estate Podcast. This is actually week 9, so I'm excited because we're trying to bring you new content about real estate. And that ranges everything from how we can help you or how your life benefits using a realtor as a consumer. If you're a realtor or in the professional industry, hopefully this will help you determine what's a life worth living, right? How do you just do real estate better? In the end, all these conversations are really geared to help the consumer, right? We want to serve better. We want to provide people with more money, right, for their homes, or less money if you're a buyer, of course. So anyway, today I get to sit with the newest member of my team, Beth Caldwell. Beth's been in the business for a really long time. She and I have done a lot of business together. And just give me a quick little background about who you are and what you do.
Well, I grew up in Bloomington Normal, and my father was a builder, so I've grown up in and out of real estate all my life. And so the inspiration that I got from him just carried me on and led me towards real estate as a career.
So you still have an itch?
I do. I love the whole creative process, and I love working with clients, and I love every facet of real estate, honestly.
Right. So I love that you relate the builder thing and all that, because that really brings into how you landed on my team, which is we're really twofold, right? You help our sellers, and you also help in the building company, because in the building company people need to pick stuff out, right? And that's sometimes kind of a tough thing, right? Yeah. So you bridge that gap for us. But what happens is that there's a really unique spread with our listing clients, people that want to sell their homes. Right? So tell a little bit about how you help in the sale of a home on our team.
Okay, well, I basically have what I feel is an absolutely flawless winning strategy. It works every single time if the client is willing to listen and respond positively to the program. So the program is really conditioning and staging the home and pricing it correctly. Those are the 3 prongs that have got to all happen.
So conditioning, staging, and price.
Yes.
Right? And so we do a lot of things about price, and everybody knows that, right, the lower your price goes, the more likely you are to sell your house. Well, I would be your typical seller, which is, sorry Beth, I'm not going lower on my price. My price is what it is, right? So there's always a part of that, and that's really what we want to talk about today, is your conditioning and staging, right? Because you have a very unique ability to go into a house and see what needs to be done.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
So
I feel I do.
I want to pick your brain a little bit about partly why that's important, and 2, I want to get a little idea of how you do it.
Right.
Okay? So the first one I actually did. This is an interesting packet. If you go to the National Association of Realtors website, they actually have this whole study on staging, right? It was done in 2015. They surveyed realtors actually and said, does staging help? Right? So I would start with that question to you. What do you think staging helps? Would you tell your client that they need to stage?
100% yes, every time.
Okay.
And I do it to the degree that the seller will cooperate and will get on board with me.
So you've said that twice now, so sellers don't cooperate?
Sometimes there are people who just really don't want to make changes, and so that's one of the challenges that for us to get our message across to people, that you can price your home as low as you want to, and you may not get your sale because your home is not showing properly. And you can make some very easy, quick changes to just make that more appealing to a buyer. And I would also just add that staging is not the same as decorating. And I always meet with my clients and tell them, first thing is, this is a beautiful home, it's been wonderful for you, I'm sure you've loved it exactly the way it is. However, when you put your home on the market, it is no longer your home, it becomes a product on the market. And we have to make a compelling case, and we have to beat out the competition and make your home the winner of the beauty contest.
Right. Yeah, it is a beauty contest, right? And Miss America with warts on her face doesn't win. Right?
Correct.
Right? So
bright pink walls, you know.
In one of our Ask BJA conversations, Danelle Moberly and myself, we had a conversation about conditioning.
Right.
Right, and she really highlighted the importance of conditioning as a, hey, we're going to tell you about the posts that aren't painted and those sorts of things. That's not what you're talking about.
Well, like I said, conditioning and staging. So conditioning, yes, if you've got some wild paint colors that need to be neutralized, definitely let's get that taken away, because we want to remove every objection that a buyer is going to have.
Okay, so there's some objections that can't be removed. So let's assume that I'm a compliant seller, right?
Yeah.
Let's assume that I'm willing to pretty much do whatever you want. So I'll repaint my house, and I'll put new flooring in, and essentially it's going to look brand new. What does staging look like in that house, or does it have a role?
Well, first of all, when you're choosing your finishes, your new paint and your new floor coverings and all of that, you absolutely need my help to choose those finishes and make sure that everything is has a broad appeal. Paint colors aren't going to turn pink or green or yellow on the wall, depending on the lighting. You know, the floor coverings everything's got to go together well and flow through the home. So it's just got to be, you know, done correctly. So that's important. Otherwise, you could be doing a costly mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then the staging part comes in. I'm not decorating your house for you as a seller.
Okay.
I am highlighting the architectural details. I'm making sure that the furniture arrangement is not in the way of something, that there's no clutter, that there's not too many things in the room, that there's nothing that's going to distract the eye and call attention to something that is not for sale. So we're basically, you know, wanting to sell the walls and the ceilings and the floors and the items that remain. So we're trying to feature them in the best way that we can. Also rooms, you know, the furniture layout is incredibly important to highlight the feel of the room, the mood, and also just the space.
Right. So how do you do that? Do you do that with the client's furniture?
It depends. I can do anything that's wanted. I mean, I can use their things, I can bring in some things, and it can be a yours and ours thing together, or they can give me a budget, I go shopping, we buy some new things. Definitely, there's things that are going to go into storage in most cases.
So it's really work. I mean, what you're talking about is a process. I'm thinking about moving furniture around, taking stuff to storage, bringing stuff from maybe your inventory or a store or something, right? How does all that get done? What's the logistics of making all that happen?
It's really not difficult, and it's not as overwhelming as it may sound. It depends on the condition of the home already, and it depends on our lead time. So this brings up another point, that if somebody knows they're thinking about coming on the market in a month or two, now is the time to be contacting us, because we don't, again, want to make any costly mistakes.
It's funny you say that. I would even argue that would extend back like 2 years. So
could be.
What shocks me more than anything is when you walk into a house and it has the original carpet in it. And they're talking, and you say, well, why didn't you ever replace it? It's time to replace it now. You might as well have done it 2 years ago. So if you know that you're going to move in a year and you're going to need new carpet, why would you not put it in now and enjoy it for a year? But again, that's you really need, as you say, to solicit the advice of a professional.
Yes, 100%.
Because there are wrong choices.
Because it's very painful for me to walk into a home where the folks have really done a great job of painting the wrong color and getting ready. They feel they're getting market ready. And spend a lot of money.
I mean, there's folks that will do it with a professional to have it all painted. They just chose a color that was unique and to themselves. Right?
Yes, definitely sellers need to be advised by someone who really is in the business and understands what the buyer wants.
So are there some things that staging can't help? So I'm thinking about, you and I just had a conversation yesterday. We have a house listed. One of the common feedback things has been, hey, the kitchen's really small, right? You had some unique insight to that as we talked through what are some strategies to sell this house. Do you remember what they were as far as staging the kitchen?
Yeah, well, in that case, the walls are rather dark and the cabinets are dark. So the home is showing, you know, as a darker space, and really a lot of light is very important in all homes when they're being shown.
So even in a small kitchen, there are some strategies to make it feel bigger.
Yes, we would lighten up the walls. There's a window in there, but we also might want to figure out some ways to use some kitchen-oriented mirrors or things that are reflective surfaces always help.
Yeah.
So, and just, adding a few accessories.
Right. And we did nothing to change the size of the room. We didn't do a remodel project. We didn't do that. We spent a few dollars changing paint, maybe adding a few decorations here or there, mirrors, that sort of thing.
Right. I also just helped my seller on a little home that turned out so beautifully. It sold in 4 days, which is another thing we need to discuss, is in the incredible results when someone really does do it well and do it right. But that one, for example, the ceilings are a lower 8-foot height, so we took the mirror in the bathroom all the way up to the ceiling. There are just tricks and tips that I can share.
Let me ask you
add
this.
Space.
That particular seller, you say it sold in 4 days.
Yeah.
I'm fighting over the question, is that because of the staging?
100%. That's
because
part of the process.
Otherwise it was going to be vacant?
It was a vacant home, okay, and it was hid in the family. So the wonderful family that was in charge of getting it market ready called me very early on. I met with them. We chose all the finishes that they were going to replace. We talked about what they needed to do and what they wouldn't necessarily have to do, so that we could get it in the peak condition for the least amount of money.
Do you think that it also gets them more money?
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, fewer days on the market equals more money.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. Secondly, yes, 100% again, the condition and the appeal of the home, it just turned out beautifully. So what we did was we coordinated all the colors in the home, and then I did stage the main rooms and got such great feedback. We had so many showings and it just flew out the door.
Right.
And I will also add that every time, and depending on the degree to which the client is willing to do things correctly, we can get a house sold in under 2 weeks without any problem. We have to have the price right, we have to have the condition, and the condition, by the way, which we haven't mentioned, also includes, hey, if there's a leaky faucet or if there's something that needs to be done.
When you say condition, I really hear maintenance. There's a lot of things that show up as maintenance that, hey, that's got nothing to do with staging, that's about making it the way it should be.
Cleanliness, making everything sparkle and shine and keeping it that way. All of those things. So basically, another point that I haven't brought up is that we're looking through the eyes of the buyer.
Right.
And we're looking at the buyer today being schooled on HGTV and all sorts of social media that have gorgeous homes all the time. Their expectations are very high. And so dated homes that aren't showing well, that aren't in good shape, are sitting on the market.
Which is where your furniture comes in, right? Because somebody may have Grandpa's old lazy boy, right, that sits in the corner and no longer is that work. So you would swap it out potentially with another side chair or something like that.
We're looking for something fresh, clean, current, updated colors, and a warm, welcoming feel.
I like it. Should a seller expect that that's free?
No.
Let me share this with you, because you and I have not even talked about this. Again, in this study, the average price of staging in this study was $675.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is a nationwide study, so obviously some are higher, some are lower. What was ironic about that is that most of the seller's agents that said that they do staging bring the client 1 to 5% more in sale price because of that.
Yes.
So I'm thinking in Bloomington Normal, the average sale price is $175,000-ish, right? So 5% more of that is something like $4,000.
Right.
So if $675 was the cost, all of a sudden that's a really great investment.
Yeah, and oftentimes people really do have the right pieces, and even if their pieces aren't, the perfect thing, they can still be, you can put a throw over a chair, you can, there's tricks and we can do with all sorts of things to just improve.
So it can be tailored towards a budget.
Absolutely, yes. And I would say that, I don't want people to feel like, oh, this is overwhelming, it's going to take a long time, and there's a lot of money. Not necessarily. And I always tell my sellers, here's the wish list, but Choose the things that you feel are doable,
Right.
and I will help you with that. And depending on their budget, we will modify our plan. Absolutely.
And there are things to prioritize, right? So I
absolutely.
mean,
Yes.
the kids' bedroom's probably not nearly as important as is the living room,
Yeah.
right?
And also tricks like when you look in the door of the room, the first thing you see, your first impressions as you walk up to the house, as you walk into each room, those
Yeah.
are all keys.
They say-
and then if you have things elsewhere that are maybe not as attractive, you can get away with it.
They say that buyers will make a decision whether or not this is the right house within 15 seconds of opening the front door.
It's the mood.
It's scary, isn't it?
BJ, it's the feel, and
Right.
that's what we're going after.
Right.
And we want sun pouring in. We don't want couches and things in front of the windows. We don't want the windows covered. We want the drapes and the blinds opened and lights on in the home. And so there's so many things we can do.
Let's give everybody an idea of where they can see your work. How do they? I want anybody to be able to go out there and say, all right, here's a picture of what that looks like when it's done. Do you have any before or afters? Do you have a?
I do have some before and afters on Facebook.
Okay.
On Beth Caldwell at Facebook.
Okay, so find you on Facebook.
Yeah, and
All
then
right.
we're going to be posting some more things like that in
Yeah,
the future.
absolutely.
We just did a major renovation together, and I
Absolutely.
don't have the afters quite finished yet on that.
That's okay. That's okay. And it's fantastic, right? So this is why Beth came to my team, right? Is because this we see as a link towards providing better quality service, and our goal always is how do you get our sellers more money in less time,
Yeah.
right? And this is really it. So by adding this kind of service, in my opinion, not just anybody can do this. I can tell you right now that I'm not skilled in. I can go see Grandpa's old lazy boy and go, I want to sit there, right? I'm going to sit there and watch TV. So
Well, I have heard from several of my clients that once I've gotten done, they're like, we don't know if we want to move now.
well, and that's kind of where I was going to go with this. Is
Yeah.
I really, as you said, it's never too early to start that.
Absolutely.
So if you're a year away, even if you're 2 years away, we would love to come out and talk and just say here's some things to be thinking about. They may show up as maintenance and conditioning, definitely as staging.
Yeah.
And shoot, if you're going to spend a few dollars to sell your house, you might as well enjoy it for the period that you're there.
Yeah, and it's just really rewarding, I feel, to clients to see their home transformed into this beautiful magazine-worthy
Right.
place. And
Yeah.
they're proud of that. I mean,
Absolutely.
who wouldn't feel good about that?
Absolutely. I like it. Anything else we ought to touch on in staging? Anything I didn't think about or ask you?
I think we covered it pretty well.
I think we covered all my stuff. So thanks for joining me today. Again, this has been Redeeming Real Estate, bringing you answers to all your questions about real estate, how the business works, how to maximize your proceeds as a seller, and how to minimize your cost as a buyer, right? This is the things we do. So call us if you have any questions. We will be doing another Ask BJA soon. So if you have any questions that you're dying to get answered about real estate, send them in to us. You can find us on Facebook. There's probably 1,000 places you can find us, but go find it. So thanks for joining us.